Okay, so now we are going to do the texturing, and I say again, we are going to focus on just one small portion here. Okay, in this exercise, you're going to go through how to apply the texture, how to change the base color that you have previously added, and add in some minor details. Okay, and how to actually do it. So previously, I have already downloaded some of the reference for ladder. Okay, I'm just going to go through with you guys. What am I looking for? I'm looking for textures that are clean, textures that are related to that particular part of the model. You know, I don't just take any kind of ladders and then apply to it. I want to find the correct one. And this is a very bad example of reference or textures because it's too small already. Okay, you want to find something that is big. In terms of color wise, you can always change in Photoshop. So what I'm looking for is just the pattern and the textures, okay, the surface textures. And once in a while, I like to have textures that are worn out so that I can also use it for texturing later on. Okay, for this particular handle, I'll be using these textures here. So in my folder and my Photoshop, what I usually do is I will drag the image into my Photoshop document. You will see all the transform gizmo surrounding it. Hold on to shift, you can actually scale it down. Okay, if you let go of shift, it will not be constrained. Your proportion, everything will be stretched or squashed. So be careful with your textures. Try to avoid stretching your textures. Press enter to lock it there. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I have applied the textures. Currently you can see it's black in color. Okay, but I want it to be something like this brown. So what I can do is that I play around with your blending mode. So I'm going to try using overlay. Zoom in closer. You can see that the textures is there. Okay, on the projector screen it's not very obvious. For those who are using the monitor, maybe it's more obvious. You can see that some of the textures is there. So I can use my lightness, Control U. Okay, I need to rectorize the image first. Reason why I need to do that is because currently this is a smart object. Smart object doesn't allow you to paint or do any edit to your model or your layer. You need to rectorize it. So right click, rectorize the layer. Now you can start painting on it already. Control U to turn on the hue and saturation. You can adjust the lightness from here. Okay, one way is to adjust the lightness. The other way, okay, is to turn on the level. Control L. You can push out the details. Okay, be careful not to be too extreme. If you make it too extreme, your texture will be kind of like pixelated. Okay, then you got to add more other filters to soften it. Okay, so now I have the texture on top of the color, and I want to change the color. So this part here not difficult. Just select the layer, Control U. You can change the color from the hue and saturation. I'm going to turn off my wireframe. Turn on my AO. change this to multiply. Going to save it. Okay. And then go over to my Maya and reload the textures. Now you can see the textures, how it looks like. Okay, if you think that the texture is good enough, then good for you. You don't have to do so much things already. If not, you have to go and change the textures and adjust it. You also realize that when I apply these textures, it's eating into other area. So what I can do is go into my brown layer here, or I can go to my mask layer all the way at the bottom. Using my magic wand, select that portion, go back to my textures and mask it. Okay, this way that textures will only be applied onto the area. It will not be applied to any other brown surfaces or any other ladder area. Okay, you'll be more specific. Okay, I'm going to continue with another ladder. Maybe this portion here, which I think is just above. Going back to my folder, I'm going to find maybe a rougher one, this one. Okay, I'm going to shrink it down. Press enter. Hold on to alternate. Make sure you're in your move tool. V is your move tool. Okay, my shortcut is lost again. Let me turn it on. Okay, V is your move tool. Hold on to me, alternate, drag over, you have a duplicate. That's a shortcut. Control T, transform, right click, flip. I'm doing this so that I have minimize the seam line. Okay, pull it over your UV, scale it down. Okay, the reason why I'm scaling down is so that the textures is the scale of your textures is the same. You don't want to have one ladder that is too big, the other one to be too small. Okay, then same thing again. I'll go to the mask, magic wand, mask it. Okay, I'm going to also warp it a little bit, so I go to my Control T to transform, right click, warp. Okay, I'm going to unbind, okay, unchain it. There's this small little chain here. So you just click on the chain, you unchain it, select this layer on the left, Control T, warp it again. When I do this, what happens is that the image will bend. It will not be straight. It will bend accordingly to what I want, and your mask will not be affected. Only the image, only the texture will be affected. Press enter to lock it down, lock it back with your chain. Just click again. Same thing here, I'm going to work with overlay. Okay, you can play with soft light if you want to, or even multiply. Okay, see what you want. So this time around, I'm going to work with overlay. Or maybe you want to work with screen also can. Up to you. Control L for my level. I think I'll use overlay. Okay, and save it. Shift Control S, Tab T, double click. Okay, okay. Reload. So I think the scaling of the texture is alright. When I zoom out, okay, I can see a little bit, and that's good enough. Okay, so that is your first step when it comes to texturing. Your second step, what you want to do next is to actually add on some kind of a weathering. And how you do it? Usually, I will go in to block out where I want my wear and tear to be. Okay, I will not just tackle the weathering without a direction. I will look at my model and I think about it. This is the handle. Most of the time, the person will be holding on to it. So this portion here, once in a while, because it's made out of leather, it will be worn off. There will be some weathering and tear here and there. The edges might have some dirt. The edges might have some scratches as well. So I'm going to work with the one on top, and then it's easier to explain. Okay, so I use a color red. Red is very obvious. When you paint something, you can see it already. So I'm going to paint and block out where I want my dirt to be. Okay, I'm not going to paint like everything like this. Okay, weathering don't work that way. Weathering is very natural. It's very random at times as well. So you want to block out those randomness. Your painting don't have to be perfect. Okay, save it. Then you check. Okay, from far, you ask yourself, those red stuff over there, is it too much of a weathering, or is it just nice? For me, I think it's maybe too much. So what I do is I go back again, use my eraser tool. I don't need to use masking here, just use my eraser tool, and I start to erase. Make use of your AO map or your wireframe to help you see, because sometimes you don't know where is your paint being applied to. Okay, so make use of them to check. Okay, save over again. So there's a lot of back and forth, Maya, Photoshop, Maya, Photoshop. Okay, so I think now it's slightly better. Okay, and what I do with this information is that I will add on more details. I create another new layer. This time around I do a very quick one. I'll just paint this white. Okay, I'm going to paint this white. I'm going to make use of layer 12, which is the red color. I'm going to mask out the bottom part. Okay, this is my white portion. I'm going to take a brush and change it to this kind of pattern. Under my mask layer, I will dab the edges to give me a very rough surface. Switch between black and white to help you. Okay, try not to go over board with it. Try to stay around the edges will do. Okay, I'm going to find another textures. Where's my texture folder? Okay, I'm going to make use of this particular one here. Drag and drop. Scale it so it fits just nice onto that area. Apply the mask. Okay, I can change the color if I want to. Same thing here, rectorize it. Okay, the one on top, I want it to be something like dirt. Okay, so I'm just going to change this to multiply, make it darker. Okay, delete or erase away the bottom part because I don't need it anymore. Okay, I'm going to use filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Okay, Shift Ctrl S, save over, Taga, go back to my Maya file and reload. Okay, you can see very subtle, not a lot, you don't need a lot. Okay, this is just like part 2. Okay, so part 1 is you apply the textures, part 2 is add the weathering. Okay, on top of that, you can add one more thing. You can see that the ladder here, right, the red color portion, you have a bit of dirt, a bit of the scratches, but the center part is still very clean. So I'm going to make use of a lighter color, maybe like white. Okay, I can change my brush to the same brush or change to something else, like an airbrush, softer one, make it bigger, and just paint over the center portion here. Okay, I'll make use of my masking previously. Okay, and erase certain portion of it. Okay, play with my blending mode again, overlay or soft light. You can start to see now that the texture is no longer so monotone. Play around with your opacity. Here, you save it over again. A lot of saving, a lot of going back and forth. But if you don't do this, you cannot check, you don't know. Yeah, and that's part of the handle only. Okay, if you want to break away, just some of the textures also possible. Just use your mask. Okay, you can go to this layer here. See, this is one of the scratches, right? Scratches also have bump on, there's thickness to it. So you double click on that layer. You can go to stroke, or you can go to inner or outer glow, depends on what you want. So in this case, maybe I use the inner glow, and then my opacity I push it to 100. You can start to see some depth already, but the depth is too much. So my distance I put it to 3 pixel, or maybe too much. Double click, adjust again. Inner shadow, change to maybe 1 pixel. Okay, save it. Just a very subtle detail only. Go back to Maya, reload. Okay, when you zoom out, the detail will be there already. Okay, so this part of the handle. I'm going to move on and work on this area here. Okay, so bear with me again. I'm going to do some very quick cleanup before I move on to the bottom part. Okay, this portion here, I'm going to group it. Give it a name, top handle, so that you know what is it when you come back to work on it. Okay, now this handle here at the bottom, same idea, same concept. Create a new layer, use a red color. I'm going to use a hard edge brush and going to tackle out the edges. Making use of the AO, I can tell where are the edges already. Save it, Taga, I'm going to create a new layer now. I want some dirt in between the groove. So I'm going to use black. I'm going to paint over. The other way is I can make use of my AO map. I can actually duplicate out the area. Okay, all this groove area here. Going to multiply a few times. Collapse it. Play around with my level. Make it even darker. Okay, I'll manually paint over. I think manually paint over is easier. This will act as a cavity map. Okay, personally, why I like modeling is because of texturing. I get to not just add colors to it, but by texturing, right, you are able to tell a story to that particular model. If you think about it, modeling is just modeling lor. Everybody else, you know, if they spend time, they can do a very good model. But in terms of texturing, you take a clean model which just came out from the factory, and you do one that is go through some battle, you know, go through some fight, go through the years of tough love. You realize that the one that have more textures will give you not the great, but give you a better feeling. Okay, the storytelling is there. Okay, I'm going to reduce my opacity so that the cavity is not too strong. And to reduce the hardness, I'm going to filter, Gaussian blur it. That will soften the edges. I'm not going to use black. I think black is maybe too strong as well. Okay, so I'm going to change it to a bit more brownish. And how I do it, basically I reset back 100% opacity, Control U, hue and saturation, turn on colorize. Because it's a black and white image, when you turn on colorize, you'll be able to adjust the color. And since my ladder is brownish, right, I want my so-called cavity to be slightly more reddish. Not too red. You don't want it to be too high saturation. Okay, close it. Reduce my opacity now to about 30 or 40. Depends on what you want. Okay, save it over again and check. Okay, I think can be darker. Okay, try again. Save. Taga. Reload. Looks better now. And because I was using the AO, you realize when I turn it off, you can see that the center portion here is lighter up compared to the side, which is darker. Okay, so I don't need to purposely go in to paint the brightness area again. So now I'm going to work on the weathering edges. Okay, with this blocking here, I'm going to share with you guys another method. I'm going to find back just now the textures that have a bit of weathering one. Okay, I'm going to make use of these textures here. Drag and drop. Scale it up. Rotate a little bit. Okay, a shortcut to only view this image is to hold on to alternate and click on the eye. You click on it again, alternate, click on the eye again, it will show you everything else again. Okay, and why I want to do that is because I want to use my magic wand and I want to select a portion of it. Right click, color range. I want to click only the white portion. Play around with your fuzziness. Press OK. You will select only that particular pattern. Alternate left click, turn off the layer. You don't need that anymore. Go back to your layer 14, which is the blocking. Mask it. Okay, the moment you do that, you add some textures to your object already, to your layer already. All you need to do now is to clean up. You don't want people to see your brush stroke. You don't want people to know what kind of brush you use. Standard brush most of the time. So you change your brush back to those very rough edges one, and you slowly break down the edges. Okay, this will take a bit of time. That's why you need to do your blocking. You need to know very clearly where your weathering is going to be. It's okay to leave like a gap in between them. Okay, weathering is again very random and natural. Okay, basically I'm just tackling the edges. I don't want the edges to look like the brush stroke. Okay, zoom out. Continue to break it down. Okay, save it one more time and check. Okay, next thing, very similar to the one that I done on top. This texture here, right? Since I still there, I'm going to apply that mask on top of it. Okay. This red color one, I can delete. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to change the color. I can see a bit of the purplish. So I'm going to reduce the saturation. Double click on the layer. I think don't need double click. I think I can copy back. Copy back the filter or the effect and paste it back. Okay, the layer style. Save. Reload. Okay, maybe this portion here might be too big, so I want to change the texture a bit. So go back to my masking, break it down further. Save it again. Okay, maybe a bit too much also. Cut down some more. Okay, on top of that, you can still add one more kind of weathering. Blood splatter if you want to lah. If you want to. If not, you can add things like water leaking. So I go to my metal textures. That's where I can find water leaking. Okay, something like this or this. Okay, I'll make use of this texture here. Drag and drop. Scale it down. I don't need to be a big piece. Okay. Press OK. Control J is to duplicate that layer. Control T, right click, warp. Okay, I want to put this water leaking just somewhere around the top edges. It's a very subtle texture. It's not a very obvious one, but it will add the details onto your model. Make use of the mask again. Play with your blending mode. Save as a taga. Reload. Okay, you can start to see some textures going on. So if you repeat this process or this concept of texturing onto everything here, you'll be able to have a very detailed model or texture. At the end of the day, your color can still be adjusted. You just need to go down to your base texture here and readjust your color. Okay, try to keep your textures clean. That will help you in the long run. Make sure they are sharp, crystal clear. Keep them organized, because as you have many layers, you'll get very messy. So every time you finish a portion of it, group it together. Things that are empty, delete them. You don't need. Don't waste the space. Okay, group it. Then give it a name. Always remember to name them properly. Save your working file consistently. And the reason why you want to have them, the layers, don't go and merge them yet. Okay, I say again, don't merge them yet. You want to keep them as separate as possible, so that later on you can do your bar map. You need those layers. If your layers are not there, you will have a hard time trying to do your bar map. In the end of the day, if you don't have a bar map, you will cheat. The way you cheat is you take your diffuse map and you put in your bar map, and that's the wrong method. So you need to make use of all your layers here to create your bar map later on. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm going to stop the video here.